Hey everyone! Today we're breaking down what really happens during IVF stimulation and why follicle growth doesn't always go the way we expect. The goal of every stimulation cycle is simple. Instead of growing just one dominant follicle, like in a natural cycle, we aim to grow a whole cohort together, usually between 6 and 15 follicles, all developing at a similar, synchronized pace. When that happens, hormones stay in range, the uterine lining develops smoothly, and the cycle moves forward in a stable, predictable way. But stimulation isn't always that straightforward. Sometimes follicles grow too slowly, too quickly, or too unevenly. And when that happens, the entire plan may need to be adjusted. One common challenge is slow or uneven growth. This happens when one follicle pulls ahead as the dominant one while the others lag behind, or when only a few follicles respond to medication at all. In this situation, doctors may adjust the dosage or decide to use a different stimulation protocol in the next cycle to help the follicles start more evenly. Another scenario is rapid, excessive growth, when more than 20 follicles begin growing quickly. This raises the risk of ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome, or OHSS. To keep the patient safe, clinicians may switch to a different type of trigger shot and freeze all embryos instead of doing a fresh transfer. This protects the patient's health while still preserving the embryos for a later cycle. There's also the situation where the follicle count looks great on ultrasound, but the egg quality isn't what we hoped for. The ultrasound might show a healthy group of follicles, but only a few mature eggs end up being retrieved. Sometimes this is related to timing. For example, when the trigger shot occurs too early or too late. But more often, this reflects deeper biological factors that affect egg development, especially in women with lower ovarian reserve or older reproductive age. And that brings us to one of the most important truths in IVF. A poor stimulation cycle is usually a reflection of ovarian biology, not a mistake in treatment. Your starting follicle count, your AFC, and your age are the two biggest factors that determine how your ovaries respond. Even the best protocol can't change the biology of egg supply or egg quality. That's why the real goal of IVF stimulation isn't simply to produce a large number of follicles. The true measure of success is whether the cycle leads to a healthy embryo. Even in cycles where growth is uneven or response is low, it's still possible to achieve a strong embryo that can lead to a healthy pregnancy. IVF stimulation is a partnership between medication and your body's natural biology, and every cycle teaches your doctor more about how to tailor the approach for you. Understanding these patterns helps transform fear into clarity and frustration into informed decision-making. For more information about IVF, visit ivfforme.com.